Hello and welcome to today's race stream here for the Beam GP F3 Season 3 Race 2 race. Of course, it wouldn't be different otherwise. Well, it would be different otherwise. And that is someone absolutely binning it into the wall. I think I'm looking at Levy. Let's just have a quick look. No, external. External, of course, not. Having a good time. In the previous race just done, he had his race unceremoniously ended early because of a moment at this very corner, including Kuz and me. It was unfortunate. He had a moment, Kuz had a moment. I had a moment where, as I joined the corner, and he entered the gravel trap and was stuck. I, on the next lap round, managed to hit him because I went off as well. The next lap again, almost helped him get out. Didn't. I could continue, but then of course I had a moment as well. Enough GTWS, we have 5 minutes until the F3 race starts, so much fun. There's the Beam Crew's bot. We've got many of them dotted around to tell the drivers where to go and when to open the DRS, which is this flap at the back here, as external spins it and almost spins Alfie into a tyre barrier. Alfie using all of his ability to avoid it. So drivers doing their final warm-up before they get teleported to the grid. We will have one formation lap, and then after that formation lap happens, we will be entering the race. The drivers will stop on the grid, which I will read to you right now. On pole, we have this amazing person right here who goes by the name of Alfie. After Alfie has done his lap, after Alfie has started, then, well, the others will start, but after Alfie on the grid, this is what I'm trying to say, after Alfie on the grid, here we go, I finally figured out how to speak again. Second place goes to Gabby, right here, who is following C's very closely. Almost goes off. But yeah, C's got Gab got P2. P3? Hang on, what am I reading? No, Gab got P3. It is this driver right here who hasn't spawned in yet. For some reason. We have Paradox, who I still haven't fixed on the graphic. So here we go. And there's a moment for, big one. C's almost takes out Gabby. Anyway, let's run through it again. We have Alfie, Paradox, Gabby. Those are the first three drivers. After Gabby, we have got another driver, of course. Of course we have another driver. But let me just very quickly... Oh, moments happened. Let me just very quickly fix the screen, get someone spawned in, and then go back to the normal view. So here is P2. This is Paradox. After Paradox, we have not his teammate. We have a Kuz. Right here. Right now. After a Kuz, on the third row of the grid, we have another driver. We have the new driver, Eduardo. Eduardo right here doesn't have a graphic after Eduardo, well, there's only one person left. That is External, who's driving for Leighton House. For some reason I just don't have him right here. Unless he's taken over from Seb, that might be why. Let's have a look at Seb. Apparently, yes, he is also in here. Seb here, starting from the pit lane. That is it. We now just wait. Oh, how could I forget? Your commentator today is me, Nath. That's everyone. Now we wait for the formation lap to begin. Who should we look at first, do you think? I think that we should look at Gab first, because Gab's wheel is apparently not working. Here we are. Got his car working, he has. We should all be good to go. Oh no, that's why I don't have External, because he is a reserve driver. So he just takes any old livery. Any moment now, race control will restart the race, and we will be going for the Grand Prix at Maine. What is this person trying to tell me? Anyway, we will start soon. This is the second race of the season, but it's not the second season. No, technically, it is the fourth season-like group of races that this server has hosted. We had Season 1, that was the first season, of course, and then we had the GT4 Winter Cup, that was last winter, hence the name. We were driving a slightly modified GT... Why is Alfie not... Okay. We were driving a slightly modified GT4 ETKK series. It was very fun. After that we had Season 2. And we have this season, Season 3. Last season, as the support series, we had the... Well, I liked BTCC races. Of course, this year, the support series is not that. Right, let me just very quickly check if the replay has started or not. Free roam. It has started. We are good to go. Alrighty. We will start very soon. Just looking at the top drivers, well, Eduardo at least, saying that he is ready. The other drivers might start saying that they are ready as well. get the form up. Here we go. Everyone seems to be ready for today's race. I believe 15 laps of pure excitement. Might be more. I'll check that for you right now. Don't know where I'd find that. Probably driver info, wouldn't it? "36 laps around this track." Here we go. And I think everyone is very excited for this race. We are now counting down. The formation lap will soon begin. Here we go. Away they go, jittery start from everyone as the smoke starts. And they now line themselves up for a start, and there's already a crash as Akuz rides into the back of Gab. And Gab does the same too. Sees, that might just be a bit of desync because they both seem fairly unharmed. Oh, late move out from Seas there into Paradox as this formation lap seemingly heats up. Don't know why the drivers are getting very feisty already. The race hasn't started yet. Whoa, very close, almost feeding the thread through the needle. Gab is very high ping, it seems. So a lot of desync is happening. Well, we'll find out what happens soon. I'll read out the grid one more time. If I can get to it. Time that is. Here's the grid one more time. Alfie, Paradox, Gab, Akuz, Eduardo, and External. Everyone else is starting from the that thing on the left, the pit lane. And Gabby's going to have to reverse the illegal techniques there being used to their fullest. But we will be going very, very soon. Now, has Wesley turned the setting on or not? Here we go. 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 lights of the colour red, green lights, a green flag, and away they go. The pits are allowed to go. Gabby storming down the inside of Paradox there. Sees and Levy leaving the pit lane now. Alfie trying to gain ground, gaining ground. And what is happening behind? Little bit of a lockup from all of the drivers. Let's just have a look at the battle further back between Seas and Levy. Let's just ride on board with a better camera angle, and someone's already off. Who's that? Eduardo's off. What's happened to Eduardo? Let's just ride on board real quick. He's got it going again, but there is a lot of damage to his car as he spinned it into the wall. That's not what you want, External. Following on behind, not hitting the wall, but further down the track than he'd possibly want to. He's also running with damage. So 2 drivers having to pit on lap 1. I will be very interested to see what has happened. Anyway, let's just have a look at a close battle, which is currently between Akuz and someone else, Seb. This battle has slightly opened up between Seb and Akuz, but apparently the battle between Levy and Seas is still raging. Yes, it is. There we are. Levy and Seas both battling, both neck and neck through these corners, one by one. Single file is the order of the day through that section. A little bit swervy on the exit. The yellow flag is called as we go past the 2 heavily damaged cars. Yellow flag. Something might have happened. Well, something has happened. Let's have a look out. There is Eduardo, and almost crashes us off as well. He is now a lap down. Green flag gets called, and we see Levy fairly in front of Seas. The battle disappearing as soon as we get a look at it. Not to worry though, let's just have a look at Seb's on board, because Seb is in a battle with Akuz. And Akuz spins it round. That's a safety car called. That is a safety car, not a red flag, a safety car. Something has happened. I think it's Eduardo. Let's just have a quick look. Eduardo is still here. Lots of drivers deciding if they want to enter the pits. Still being told about going too fast. Oh well. And yeah, I think Eduardo is going to be out of this one as we see all the drivers going in and not going in. Eduardo being towing before he is told to. That will be looked at after the race. Let's just have a look at Alfie, the first of the drivers to enter the pit lane. He is behind Paradox, and he is going to want to pass Paradox as soon as he can to get his lead back up. Well, under the safety car now. There's not much... What am I doing? There is not much to talk about under the safety car, especially when there was only 1 lap of proper racing. But it gives us a... Oh, Eduardo got disqualified. And someone has left. So let's start that replay once more. As External unlaps himself. Safety car enters the pit lane, and we will now see what happens on the start. Safety car is called again for some reason. Green flag is called now. We wait for Paradox. Levy behind Paradox. Going now goes Alfie. And away through turn 1 we go. Alfie holding his ground, not going for an overtake. Of course, knows far better than to go for an overtake every lap, every corner. He was a bit far back, but he might be close enough this time. Down the inside he tries, he has a look, doesn't even get his nose through. He's just sniffing the waters, testing them to see if they're good enough. Paradox locking up his brakes, getting very sideways through that chicane onto the bridge. We go. Who is gonna come out victor of the stadium section? Clipping the barrier goes Alfie, and Sunset Outrun stays in front. Of course, Sunset Outrun being the team name. And is Alfie going to get past? Let's just have a look. Diving off track, and that's not where you want to go. Very bumpy. Through he goes, back on track through turn 1 now. Alfie still behind Paradox, but Paradox very slippy. Look, it's looking through there, and Alfie he just gets a move on. He's alongside now, backs behind, seemingly not wanting to overtake. And he might just be playing with Paradox, and Paradox is definitely not playing with Alfie, as he gets very sideways and the two almost collide. Alfie moving out the way just in time as we see the two through the stadium section now. Is Alfie going to go for the inside? No, he isn't. Can he get a switchback move? He cannot. Sunset outruns. Got a good driver here in Paradox as the two drivers collide. Paradox spun it round into the barrier, and he is going to have to drive, if he can drive, back to the pit lane. Akuz is in the pit lane. Speaking of the pit lane, let's have a look at Gabby, who isn't in the pit lane, but he is right behind us. Safety car is called as I was about to have a look. And just as the race was heating up, it gets neutralized again. Second safety car in a matter of laps. What are we, lap 7 now? It is certainly one of the races that we've held. Let me just see if I can have a look at the laps. As Gab enters the pit lane, a lot of drivers entering the pit lane instead of going out. There goes out Alfie. And there goes out Gab. And yep, the driver's now catching up. I don't know how to see the laps we have, but that's not a problem. We will just guess. Out of 35 laps, there's probably only a few laps left. About a few laps left. I mean, like 27 at the maximum. It's probably like 30 laps left, if I think about it. But we now wait for the safety car to be called in. What are these drivers going to do on the safety car restart? It's going to be interesting. Excuse me. Alfie, though, he is going to want to go very specifically. I believe the safety car will enter the next lap. Not this lap. Next lap. And we still see the driver stuck there in the gravel. Eduardo. No, that's Paradox. As we have a little bit of desync with the server. Eduardo has... No, Paradox is stuck. He has been kicked from the race though. Not from the server, from the race. And he is now out. Not very happy is Paradox. Yeah. But he is now out of the race. Did that say Paradox left the pit? Oh no, drove into the pits. Anyway, let's have a look at the race at hand. Or at least, the standings. In first, we have none other than Alfie. After Alfie, we have Gabby. After Gabby, it is Seb. After Seb, it is C's. The two S's, third and fourth. Can they get second and third? We will see. After the two S's, we have Akuz and Levy. And then after Levy, rounding it off, it is external in Leighton House number 30 through. Safety car is called in this lap. and that means Alfie now holds the speed. Getting ready for the start then, as the safety car, smoking as it is, drives off. Away we go. Let's just have a quick look behind us. There is a lot of cars. Let's have a look forwards though, the very important direction, as we see Alfie not going yet. Alfie knows just when to go. He will wait as long as he wants to wait, and he goes now. And so does Gab. Gab trying to get every bit of slipstream from Alfie's car. Then it turns into dirty air, and it doesn't help him through turn 1. Locking up the brakes is Alfie. Wide is Gabby. Gabby has gone off the track. And these drivers are not very happy with the tyres. Of course, under the safety car, they are very, very cold now because they cool down when they're being used. And that is a snap of oversteer from Gab there. Down the bridge we go. Let's have a quick look behind us as it's heating up. Gab hitting the wall. Let's just have a quick look at the car belonging to Akuz. Going through the S section now, he's fighting C's. C's not winning the GCWS race last time around. Only a few moments ago it ended. A lot of damage on the front wing, but that could be explained by desync. Gab, of course, going off the track again. As we see Kuz very slippy with his tyres. As we see a battle forming out between Seb and Gab. Gab is pulling back from Alfie, and Seb is only getting closer. Down the straight, he doesn't gain time. Almost clips the barrier as we go into the twisty section now. A little bit wide it looked like, but he must have been on the line because I didn't get a pop-up there through this section, which is very fun to drive. If you get it correct, he loses time to Gabby. The all-important gap is getting bigger, and that is not good. Akuz drives into the pit lane, trying to get better tyres for his race. Who else is close? Well, it's still Seb and Gab. We are riding aboard with Seb, of course. As Akuz leaves the pit lane. Gabby very close through there, very slow on the exit. That brings the cars tighter together because the time is, well, let's not bring science into it, but the gap will change distance-wise, even if it doesn't change time-wise. But it's definitely closed up a lot here. Gab with a terrible set of corners, and oh, Seb very out wide there. That's not where you want to go, as that graphic pops up a few moments late. We've been on this camera angle for a while. Gab through turn 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, because that is how you drive the circuit, going through the corners numerically. Locking up his brakes a little bit on the entry and scramming his car through the corner, locking up his brakes a bit more there in through the chicane, putting the power down very much with the tyre marks, as you can see on the exit. Through he goes, pops into the air. There's one wheel from Gab. We could only see that from this onboard, of course. Something to note on that corner then. It's very... Oh, Gab's hit the wall. No, he hasn't. That was desync. What is going on? Well, ignore that. That didn't happen. That was just a glitch with the screen as C's enters the pit lane. Let's ride on board with C's as we have a look at all of the drivers. Gab gets warned for track limits again. not exactly what you want to have happen to you. Paradox is, of course, out of the race. Let's just have a quick look at Alfie, because Alfie hasn't really been looked at this race. He has just stormed in the lead, but he does deserve some recognition for what he does. He does give us an easy chance at the betting store. You know, I think Alfie's going to win the Beam GP race today. You don't get much money on your returns. Actually, I don't get any because they give me a 1-to-1 betting chance. But yeah, that's beside the point. Let's just have a look back at the second and third battle, which is raging on. Let's have a look from Gab's point of view. There is Paradox behind. No, that's not Paradox. There is Seb behind. Driving through sparks coming off from Gab's car. It's obviously so low down as he loses the rear end. Riding the curbs like there's no tomorrow. Let's have a look at Seb now as we enter another lap. Through turn 1 we go. Smooth transition from Gab to Seb. It's Gab missing turn 2, and Gab's had a moment. Gab is off. Gab is stuck in a barrier. Well, they're not TPing in front of us. That is a safety car. And what a moment that was from Gab. I think Okuz is going to see it next. Yeah. Here is the wreckage. Ooh, that is nasty. Wow, what a moment. Let's just have a look at C's on board as C's passes the scene of the accident. Wow. Nasty. If I could get an onboard from that, I would show you. Oof. Let's have a look at Alfie very quickly. Alfie behind the safety car now as the drivers are entering the pit lane. There is the wreckage just after the DRS thing, because as we saw a few moments ago, Gab just got very loose on the exit of 4. Well, it was at the start of 4 he got loose. I'd argue partway through turn 2 he got loose. Couldn't recover it through 3, and on the entries of 4 just hit the inside barrier, and that sent him flying across Seb into the other barrier where he got stuck and fell to the ground. The barriers doing what they were made to do, keeping the cars inside the track so the spectators outside the track are perfectly safe. Although they would definitely be a bit shaken from that. Gab going to the hospital ward of the track, the little doctor's office, for a quick checkup. I'd expect him to go to a hospital. I wouldn't be surprised if he does for a checkup like that after a crash like that. That was massive. But he seems alright. Hopefully he seems alright. He won't be able to continue the race after that. Anyway, continuing on with the race as it happens. He is in the pit lane now. And I expect to be going at the end of this lap. Alfie, of course, wanting to go as fast as he can. Would you guys like to know the new order of the race? Because I'll give it to you. The new order of the race is Alfie That's not new information to you guys. Seb, that is new information. External, Levy, Akuz, and rounding off the pack is C's. Now there is a mandatory pit stop in this season, this racing series. There is a mandatory pit stop, and that pit stop cannot be done under the safety cars. The safety car goes off wide. The front tyre's not doing anything, and he drives into the wall. Safety car in this lap. It better be, otherwise we'll have to start referring to it as the danger car. Let's ride on board with external as we start the next lap. And we start a new part of the race. What is the safety car doing? He's gone off twice now, and he's just gone off again. Well, green flag is called. And we are now waiting for Alfie to go. Where Alfie will go, only Alfie knows. He goes now, and can External get a good run on Seb? He can't, he backs off, in fact, and gets eaten up by Levy, by Akuz. That's not what you want to have happen on a start. You want to try, you almost could gain a place, and instead he loses two. Let's ride on board with Paradox as we go. Let's ride on board with Seb as we go through these turns here. Seb driving his car, his Sunset Outrun car, behind Alfie, but there is a battle behind him, a battle for P3. Let's have a look at External, who is behind this battle, and will give us a pretty nice look. I'd actually argue that he is part of this battle, albeit quite far away. He is still within reach. He could snap up a place if someone has a moment. DRS has been enabled. Let's just ride on board with Akuz one moment while we go through these corners, and then we can get a good look at the driver in front, which is Levy, and the driver behind, which is External. External falling backwards, backwards, and backwards as he almost gets eaten up by C's. Not having a good time is External. Very slow that straight. I wonder if he has his car set up for the corners instead of the three straights here. Anyway, this battle between Seb and Levy is quite an interesting one, as we see Seb diving it down the inside, getting Levy into this section of track now. Both drivers pushing their cars to the limit. I think External there pushing his car just a bit too far as he looks to be almost eaten up by C's. Levy losing a lot of time through that final set of corners to Seb, and apparently he is behind Akuz as well, because we are looking at Akuz. Let's have a look at Levy then, who is not in the correct camera, who will show us the look forwards and backwards. We'll have a look at C's in actual fact, as Akuz locks up. C's right here, driving for Iron Rock. Iron Rocks live under the sea, which is quite a fun fact if you ask me. External now in front. What's going to happen through these corners? Last time got very close between C's and External. Sideways goes C's through the corners. You see the wheel moving to catch the oversteer, to catch the slide, to catch the drift, as External catches up to Levy. The battle for fourth heating up here. Three drivers pretty far apart, but they're still quite close in the grand scheme of things. Of course, the gap to Alfie is 3 seconds. The gap behind that is 5. The gap here is only 2. So, 3 drivers within 4 seconds. Gap locking up. External and C's not. Sees catching up to external though. A little bit of oversteer on the exit. He will try and mitigate that as much as he can through these corners here though. Catching up to external. Sees is very good at this section evidently. And through we go. Whoa. Very nice. It does look amazing. And these drivers all go corner to corner, moment by moment. External eating the curb at turn 2 as if it was his breakfast. And INC's not doing so, trying to keep his tyres alive more than going for lap time. Alfie will be investigated after the session for causing a collision. Obviously something has happened with Alfie, but a nice little battle here. Yeah, the gap between Seb and Alfie still looks quite big. It's grown massively, so I wonder if Seb's had a moment. But the battle now for P5 as we get a bit of lag and desync as is over now because external has driven into the pit lane. That means we can have a look at Seb and see what has happened with him. Desync has happened with him. I will do a bit of magic, and you didn't see this, guys. You didn't see that. But yeah, P2 driver right here. He's got a very lonely race. His second race in BeamGP, and it is not the most entertaining for him. But it is not as lonely as the race for this man right here, Alfie. Who he's used to this sort of race. He's done it all through season 1 and season 2, and now it looks like he will repeat the trifecta and do it in season 3 as well. C's entering the pits now, getting a bit of repairs done to his car, but he is very far from everyone else. Speeds in the pit lane for just a fraction of a moment, and gets a 300 of a second penalty added on, which he will serve either at the end of the race or during his next pit stop. Well, through goes Alfie, through turn 1 that is, not through a corner. Let's just have a quick look at external, who is fighting Levy again for a place higher than he currently is standing. The place he is standing currently is P5. Where Levy is standing, it's P4. Do you know what external would want? He'd want to be higher than where he currently is. So he is currently fighting Levy, who's just got a massive snap of oversteer, and he's spun it, he's gone round, he is facing backwards behind C's, he gets it facing forwards again. But that is not what you want to have happen while you are in front. Let's just ride on board with C's now as C's follows external. Into turn 5 we go, down the DRS straight. No DRS because he's too far away. Through he goes. What's gonna happen? A little bit of lag there. And he goes into the chicane. Gains massively on external. Doesn't put the power down quite as early as I've seen him do earlier in the weekend. And gains a bit on external. What's he gonna do right now? Very wide goes external. That is gonna hinder him. Akuz leaves the pit lane. And a little bit squirrely is external. I wonder if he's losing a bit of wear in his tyres, if his tyres are losing a bit of life as Levy enters the pit lane. P3 is still going to Akuz, because Akuz is in P3. That is just how it works. If you drive faster, you get a higher position. And Akuz is getting a higher position, for sure. Levy in the pits brings down the order. Something's happened there. I think Alfie's had a pit stop as the timing bug goes wild, goes crazy, and doesn't exactly know what to do as external goes wide yet again. And the bot doesn't pick it up. I wonder if that track limit hasn't been mapped correctly. Would have been useful to know in GT4, but that's just how it works. Through turn 1 we go, through turn 2s again. Not very close is C's. He is staying where he was as external. Locking up his brakes, going very wide, so does C's. C's follows him, in fact. Locking up his brakes again as external, his rear brakes that time, and he puts too much power down. And it almost spins, catches it. C's could have gone around the outside, chooses not to. Chooses to keep his fuel the same? No. To use less fuel. And goes... stays behind external. Of course, there's a fine line to draw between going too fast and not going fast enough as we enter lap 29. Now, if you go faster, then you use more fuel. But if you stick behind someone and go the same speed as them, you use less fuel. Because of the slipstream, you can have your foot lifting slightly and still go just as fast, which is very useful for fuel saving for long stints as C's gets sideways now. Out of that corner, the inside of the exit is not where you want to be, seemingly. Two drivers now almost spinning their races on the exit. C's now abusing that track limits there on the entry to the twisty section as much as he can, putting the power down, staying in front, gaining time. I wonder if Caesar's pushed his tyres too much, and I wonder if they are going off lap 30 now. Let's have a quick look at the order. We have, of course, Alfie starting lap 31. We're right on board just for this little bit. There's lap 31. After Alpha we have Seb, who is only 10 seconds behind him, 11 seconds behind him, not too far. And then after C's we have Akuz here, who is not too far again behind him, but still a considerable part. And then after Akuz we have got this driver external, the reserve driver, standing in today for himself. And he was free, so he decided he is going to race as the driver behind him, this one right here, C's, enters the pit lane. After C's we have this driver, Levy Stick. And Levy is the last driver currently, also abusing that track limit. I will be reporting of that after the race, because that's just ridiculous. You saw how wide he was and nothing happened at all. But that's how it is, and that's how it will be for now. The drivers now in clean air, all of them. Let's have a look at external. Is he going to enter the pits or is he not? As we enter the final section, he does not, and decides to go around to collect lap 32. Seb off the track. That's not where you want to be, because it isn't the fastest place to be. Levy also off track. That's not, again, where you want to be. Anyway, maybe external feels that his tyres, they're still good. That his aero, it's still good. And that his fuel is fine. Even though it looks like it's got 8.4 litres. Hopefully. No, it's 8 litres. Let's have a look. 5 litres. He might enter the pits this lap. I'm not strictly meant to do that, but if we can have a quick look at what a driver has, then it's not gonna hurt us. He decides not to go into the pits. I think he'll enter the pits next lap though. But let's just have a quick look at C's. C's, of course, the driver behind. He has now been lapped, which means Levy has also been lapped. That's just how it is. Don't ask me, that's just how timing works. Now, has Alfie entered the pit lane? Alfie has not entered the pit lane, which is a strip with a building on either side, well, not either side, but a side, and the track the other side. And that building houses all the mechanics and parts for the cars. That's called the pit lane. Because it's the lane of where there would be a pit if it was a real garage. And they'd be able to go into that pit and fix the undersides of vehicles, the technical parts. Nowadays they just hoist them up on jacks and do it that way. But that's where that name originates, the pit lane and the pit building. And you should probably know why it's called a pit, because it's just a pit in the ground. Was just a pit in the ground. It's not a pit anymore. They don't have them anymore. Usually due to safety concerns, you don't want to fall down it. Anyway, external, still not pitting. That's what it's called when you enter the pit lane and have a pit stop over the pit. Levy does enter the pit lane though, obviously having another instance, because he just stopped recently. Serves about a quarter of a second in penalties waiting. Anyway, C is almost catching up to Levy. Levy is so far behind. So he enters the pit lane now. External. What is external going to do? Let's just have a look at it at external. Through turn 5 he goes. Alfie should be pretty close. But there's Levy and there is Alfie. Oh, off he goes through the chicane, bumping over the curb, over the bridge. He seems fine. Forget about that accident. Just crack on with the race. That is how you do it. Ooh, he is not having the best time out here. Here's Levy, catching up to external. He's planning to unlap himself, I believe. Oh, checkered flag. Lap 37 already. Alfie taking the victory. Damn. I'm just so ingrained in the external season Levy mind tricks that I just didn't see that we were on lap 37 already. Well done, Alfie. Lapping 2 drivers and coming round to finish what's been quite a lonely race for him. Well, that's one way that it happened. And here is the penalties will go crazy, says Gab. Well, this is external coming round to take his checkered flag. Now, and here is C's as well, because we're keeping an eye on the C's. C's behind Alfie. Well, I'm annoyed. I wanted to talk over that ending, and I just missed it. Terribly sorry, everyone. Let me give you your rundown of the positions then. Winning the race, we have Alfie. After that, we have... It just says pitting, I don't know. It wasn't Paradox. Not Akuz. We have Seb, and then we have Akuz, then we have External, then we have C's, and then we have Levy. Everyone else didn't finish. Well, we will have the drivers looking at it, the stewards looking at the race now and deciding who needs to be told off. Of course, that is how it works here. They'll go, you shouldn't have done this, naughty, naughty. Here's a penalty. And yeah, the official results will come out in about 48, maybe 36 hours. Once all of the appeals and the appeals and the appeals have been set and done. So thank you for watching. I've loved talking. Didn't quite like that ending. But we will see you guys next week for a different layout of this track, which will be called the Hirochi Grand Prix. Very interesting. Lots of excitement then. But we'll see you next time. Goodbye.